Hi, gang. My name is Coach Jay Brightler with Full Circle Coaching Consulting, and joining me, as always, is my partner in crime,
Coach Fraser Smith.
And so we will talk today. This is part 2 of a 4-part series. We will talk to you a little bit today about systems, and I'll kick off this piece. I'll let you take over here, Fraser, because to me, systems is summed up in one statement that I can't even remember where I read or heard it, but this is it. It really struck me, even now. Like, and I've been coaching goals and systems for a long time, but like this has like hit me in the face a couple weeks ago. And you do not rise to the level of the goals that you set, but instead, what you do is you rise or fall to the level of the systems that are in place in your life. So you can have this amazing goal, and it can even be achievable. We talk about SMART goals, and the SMART acronym is it measurable? Is it aligned? Is it reasonable? Is it time sensitive? Right? So we talk about goals, but you know what? If you don't have a system, it doesn't matter how amazing your goal is. You are gonna stub your toe on the sidewalk, and you're gonna fall over. So, Fraser.
Well, you know, that reminds me of the book, The Time Trap, which talks about time management. And one of the things that probably I remember so vividly from that book is that the higher you go up on in the level of management, your level of management that you achieve, the higher proportion of time you spend on strategizing and planning. And so when I think of most entrepreneurs, what most entrepreneurs end up doing is the doing. So the doing, you don't give yourself enough time to plan, prepare, strategize. And those systems are really part of that, right? Creating the structure to make sure that you've got the action plan to fall back on to make everything come to completion.
So let's talk about a strategy then, and I think we can keep this one a little bit shorter, but let's use this as a segue to talk about something that makes sure that you're consistently putting systems in place. And this is our major outcome activity planner. What are your major things? What are your MOAs? What are your big things that you need to do? Let me rephrase that you choose to do to keep moving the ball forward in your business, because you can be working all the time. You can be a human doer, or you can be a human being. And so if you're actually working on your business and what are the big things that you need to do to move the dial in your business, things are going to change a lot.
So Jay, this is Pareto's principle. We talk about this over and over, you and I. 80-20, right? 20% of the things you do gives you 80% of the results. So and 80% of the stuff you do gives you 20%. So the MOA is figuring out what the 20% is that gives you that maximum result. You start doing those, you're going to accelerate your entire life at like mega speed. So drop the 80%, focus on the 20%, and most important, as Jay alluded to, MOA. You've got to figure out what those things are, make a list, and then you're going to fill in your calendar. You're going to schedule MOA time, which is dedicated to. This is partly out of the time trap too. Dedicated time focusing on your MOAs, your most important, leverageable activities that give you the maximum amount of benefit.
And let's be practical. What's a practical example of this? And I like to use the example. You gonna cut me off?
No, go.
Okay, I got one.
Two expressives.
Yeah, right. Wee. So I commonly talk about, as a chiropractor, your new patient paperwork. The first time you sit down and do your new patient paperwork, oh my God, what a slog, right? It's like 3-4 hours of time creating your paperwork, unless you're going to inauthentically take somebody else's paperwork and try to make it your own. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, God, I really don't have 3 hours. I'm in practice, so I can borrow bits and pieces of somebody else's. And what I can do is I can like make it a little bit my own. So I can take a 3-hour project and make it 1.5. But at least I've got my baseline for my paperwork. As I've gone through the years, I have found that there's things about that are a little less authentic things that were in that other paperwork, just hasn't carried forward. So I've spent an hour on our new patient paperwork, I would say about once a year, tweaking it. And right now, like when you read my new patient paperwork in my office, it's vastly different from anybody else's. We don't focus on asking questions about the pain and where it hurts. What I want to know is, what are your perspectives of the healthcare field? And I'm explaining why that matters. What are your perspectives of chiropractic? The reason why I want to know that is because da-da-da-da-da. But once that's done, that's immediately helping me that system now gives me a way to reliably know the person who I'm walking into. Are they expressive? Are they going to write a whole lot of things about themselves? We talked about some on part 1 with our team. It's giving me a really good idea who this person is, so I can walk into this. So I have this great goal that we're going to serve X amount of patients and we're going to have 50 new patients a month. Well, that's all well and good. What's the system to make sure that you're getting the most out of every patient interaction?
Awesome.
Anything to add, Fresh?
No, just maybe another example for me when I explain MOA. That's a perfect example. One of the things, just to kind of make it tangible too for people, is in my office, one of the things, the most productive thing I've ever done from a return on investment standpoint is doing my workshop, my education workshop for new clients. And what happens is you put the time in, you've created, that's MOA stuff. The system is you beat the drum, but every 2 weeks. And the bottom line is sometimes I got 15 people there, sometimes I got 2. But on average, what happens is I do that new patient education orientation, and I get a lot of people that have never stepped into my office, but they've been coming through referrals. All on average gain 4 new practice members from every talk. So if you do the math, I know that my case average is about $5,000. So that's a $20,000 return on investment. That's the amount of money I make for 1 hour or less than 1 hour of my time delivering that structured workshop every 2 weeks.
Systems. Thanks for joining us. This is part 2. We're going to talk about part 3. We'll talk a little bit about time with our next piece. Thanks, Coach Fraser.
Thanks, Jay. Hope you enjoyed this.